divert stays there. to be going pretty good. We ended up popping an underground spring up out of the ground. We had muddy water running down the skid road, and it was actually dumping into the creek down there as it gets down towards the bottom. So I come back down in here after lunch and I realized what he was doing. I come back in here after lunch and I went up above where we're coming out. I tried to catch it, cut it off, and it seems like it's working. Clean water running in there. See all this water, quite a bit of water running. All this water was running right into the skid road, just overflowing. I think now we got it diverted, running down this little ditch. So hopefully this takes care of it. The skidder was still going with them big tires on. I'm really surprised. I'm really impressed. And my floaters, how good they're working. I didn't think they was going to work like that, honestly. But you can see it. She's steady running. And the goal is, I'm hoping, that by the time it gets down to the creek, going this way, see, it's still carrying muddy water, but once it gets down in here, it should run the rest of the way down this ditch and clean itself out. Actually, you can see it's catching sediment already. These leaves should filter it. So by the time it gets back down to the creek, it ought to be relatively clean. So we do the best we can out here, but you know, sometimes you gotta play with cards you got to work with. It's an awful lot of work to go through to get a couple of trees out, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Let's see what was out here over here. What was happening is that water was running right down the road. See, the other skidder, it wouldn't even go in here. Yeah, wow, that skidder, we had that skidder in here with 28 L's in it. And it just went right down to the belly button. But this one's going. Down no more. We don't have a whole lot of options to come out through here. If I go someplace else, I gotta cut another trench and all this crap, cross the creek in 2 or 3 spots. The only thing we'll have to do, just watch the weather. Like if they're calling for some rain, have to try to divert the water off this road so it don't run down in the creek. See, we quit for lunch. That water was running right down the corner of that, right there, right there. It's running, and I mean, you'd fill a 5-gallon bucket up in 5 minutes. But it's already cleaned. The creek's already cleaned up. It was muddy water run down through there. Cleaned up now. It's bad ground, man. It's bad ground, but clear cutting it, as you can see. Looks like hell, but I wouldn't be surprised within a few years there'll be houses growing here, but it's not my ground, much I can say about it. So we're gonna try to cut a couple trees. It's getting late now. It's almost 2:30 already. We'll probably quit here shortly and get this road straightened out. Maybe start fresh tomorrow. That's what I'm thinking. Okie doke. We'll get some trees going tomorrow. That's where it's coming up out of the ground, right there. Flooding out this entire skid road. I can't believe that little bit of water. You see her bubbling. Alright, what I had going on here was the water was coming up out of the ground right here. It was running right down my skid road. Of course, going right down in the creek. A lot of water. Not just a little bit of water, it was a lot of water. So we came up here to the head of it. I dug a trench with the mini. I dug a trench all the way down into the woods. Hoping. I mean, it's a lot of water. Look at it running. I mean, it's a lot of water. I'm hoping that this will kind of help dry my skid road up. A lot of work though. This is one of them jobs we have to probably pull out till drought, but since it's a clear cut, I'm guessing we can get away with this. I didn't really ask permission if I could do it or not. But worst case scenario, once we're done, I could fold this all in. That way it doesn't, you know, even the landowner's gonna have to have access to get to the back part of the job anyway. So this should dry this main skid trail up, but you can see it's pretty soupy. But once this settles in, and right now it's dirty. I mean, the water's actually clean, starting to clean up as it gets down here. I mean, camera makes it look brown, but it's starting to clean up. I had to do the same thing on the other side. Or on the other side of that big rock was another spring head, which is why this is all souped up. But I did it over there too, and I took it down to the bottom. And what I tried to do was, when I got down there closer to the creek, what I did was I dug a hole, you know, so we didn't have constant flow. I dug a hole, like a small pond down there. And in theory, that should fill up full of water, slowly, fill up full of water, and then gradually trickle out. And in the hopes that it's clean before it gets to the creek, which it should be. Kind of like acting like a Mother Nature silk fence. But I guess we have to see what happens, how this works. I mean, it's a lot of water coming down this pipe. I mean, I don't know if you can see it running in the camera or not, but yeah, see, you can see it. It's running water. And once this settles in, you know, it'll carry a little sediment down there, but once this settles in that little pond, the sediment should stay in the bottom and clean water will rise up out the top. That's the That's the goal anyway. Let's see if we can creep around here. Get down, because I'll show you where I did it yesterday with the dozer. Of course, I was in there a little bit earlier stirring it up, but I'll show you where I did it yesterday. I got a little video of that yesterday, but I'll show you what that looks like today. Make my way through this mess. Trying to stay up out of the mud. To see what this little pond will do. It runs down here, it'll fill this little pond up, this little hole. Sediment will stay down in the bottom of that. And it'll just leak out of here real easy, run down through here. And as it goes on down through there, the leaves will catch the rest of the sediment. And by the time it gets to the creek, it should be clean water. Now, if we get a torrential downpour, you know, that's going to affect it, but you're going to get mud in the creek regardless when you get a torrential downpour. Even if we weren't logging, you're going to get mud in the creek. See, I did the same thing over here. Now this one here, I dug the pond and then I daylighted it. Shoot, that's a lot of water coming down through there. Holy cow. This one here, I daylighted. What I did here is dug my pond. Believe it or not, that's probably 2.5, 3 feet deep. But what I did here was I daylighted it because I didn't want, when this fills up real slow, I didn't want it to leach out and get back on my skid road. So I daylighted this one, and it'll kind of do the same thing. It'll run down in here, and you know, and it'll come out of there real slow. It'll fill that up, because it'll actually back up in that ditch before it actually comes up in here. And it'll come down in here real slow, and it'll leach out into these leaves. And then again, Mother Nature take care of it from there. But let's go over here to the one I did yesterday. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's working over here. I mean, you see, we got, you know, I don't know, maybe some people don't care, but I spent a lot of time in diesel fuel trying to keep this mud out of this creek. This here yesterday, this time yesterday, there was water, this road was water running down it, so it's healing. It seems to be drying up. See, this is the ditch I did yesterday. I took a video of that. This is the ditch I did yesterday. Now it's dirty water coming out of here. Actually, it's fairly clean. I mean, if you look, it's clean water. And see it? I dug out one yesterday to catch that stream up there. But yeah, it's clean water. But what I was talking about, Mother Nature's little silk fence. See how it's ponding up there? It's catching in these leaves. You can't really tell. Clean water. See? Clean water. So it's working. Play it by ear, see what happens.